Social media generally offers things you might like, but instead I saw one recommendation that shattered my whole world. I wasn't looking for anything. That's the thing. I had no reason to. We were fine, weren't we? I thought we were. Every morning it was the same. The sun barely peeking through the blinds, the smell of freshly brewed coffee filling our little kitchen, the quiet comfort of knowing she was just on the other side of the bed. Lauren. She always woke up with this incredible energy, even before the first sip of caffeine hit her system. Me? I needed a minute. Or 20. She'd already be stretching or pulling out her workout clothes. I'd be fumbling for my phone to shut off the actual alarm I'd somehow slept through again. Then, the ritual. I'd get the coffee started. Strong, black, just how we liked it. She'd emerge, already looking like she'd run a marathon, even though she was just getting ready to put on her workout gear. We'd sit at the counter, just for a few minutes. Her scrolling through client messages, me trying to wake up enough to form a coherent sentence. It was our normalcy, our quiet, peaceful start to the day. Then came the goodbye kiss, always quick, a peck on the lips, a promise to text later. She'd grab her enormous gym bag, kiss me one last time, and then she was out the door, off to conquer the world, one spin class, one yoga session, one personal training client at a time. And I was always so damn proud of her. Lauren had built something incredible. Her fitness studio, Zenith, wasn't just a gym, it was a community. And she was its radiant center. I'd see her Instagram stories, shots of her leading a packed class, her voice full of encouragement, her smile infectious. Client testimonials would pop up, a screenshot of a glowing review, a before and after photo series. Her feed was curated perfection. Vibrant workout shots, healthy meal prep ideas, motivational quotes. Every post garnered hundreds of likes, dozens of comments. She had this way of connecting with people, making them feel seen, understood, empowered. I loved watching her thrive. I loved seeing her light up when she talked about a new client, a new class idea. She was living her dream, and I was right there, cheering her on. But then there were these subtle shifts, almost imperceptible at first. She was always busy, sure, that was a given. But it felt like she was more busy, not just with clients, but with her phone. It became an extension of her hand. Dinner conversations would get interrupted by a buzzing notification. A casual movie night would see her thumb scrolling, her eyes fixated on the screen, even as the credits rolled. It wasn't just work. It was everything. She was always on. Sometimes, I'd catch her staring into space, a faraway look in her eyes, even when we were just sitting on the couch together. And when I'd ask what she was thinking about, she'd just smile, a little too quickly, and say, "Oh, just planning the week ahead," or "just thinking about a new routine." It felt like there was this invisible wall slowly rising between us. Not a solid brick wall, but one made of pixels and unanswered questions. I told myself it was just the demands of her booming business. She was growing. She was successful. This was what success looked like, right? More calls, more messages, more time online. I tried to be understanding. I tried to be supportive. I told myself I was just being paranoid, clinging to an old routine that just wasn't sustainable anymore for someone as driven as Lauren. Then came the Denver conference. A big one for fitness professionals, she said. Networking, workshops, new equipment demos. It made perfect sense. She was always looking for ways to improve Zenith. I helped her pack, ironed her favorite blazer. She looked radiant, excited. Before she left, we had one of those moments. A lingering hug, a deep kiss that felt like it went beyond the surface, like we were really there with each other. She said she'd miss me, and I believed her. While she was gone, her Instagram stories were, as usual, a highlight reel. Photos of her in bustling conference halls, a selfie with a renowned fitness guru, a boomerang of her at a fancy dinner with what looked like a group of other trainers. Everything was perfect, professional, exactly what you'd expect. I felt a familiar swell of pride. My girl was out there, making moves, killing it. She called me just before she left Denver, said her flight was an early one. And then, right before she hung up, her voice a little muffled, a little tired, she said, "Don't wait up, babe." So I didn't, but I probably should have. Her hand. That was the first thing I noticed. You don't forget the shape of someone's hand after 10 years. The elegant curve of her fingers, the subtle way her knuckles bent. I could draw that hand from memory. Every crease, every faint line. Even the way her nails were shaped. A fresh, glossy nude that I'd seen her get done just last week before she left for Denver. It was unmistakable. It was late, probably past midnight. I'd been trying to unwind after work, just scrolling aimlessly through Instagram. You know how it is, that endless feed of perfectly curated lives. Scrolling through my friends' vacation pics, a few funny memes, maybe a sports highlight or two. My thumb just kept moving, mindlessly, into the Explore tab. That algorithm, always showing you what it thinks you want to see. Usually, it's just more of the same, things mildly related to what I've already liked. But this time it pulled something from left field. Something that stopped my breath in my chest. It was a photo, not a professional one, more like a snapshot taken with a phone. From a rooftop restaurant, it looked like. City lights blurred in the background, some neon glow, the hint of a sophisticated cocktail in a glass. And there she was, Lauren, clearly recognizable, her hair slightly tousled, falling around her shoulders, a smile on her face that I knew, a real smile, not the one she used for the camera, not the one she used for clients. This was her relaxed, genuinely happy smile, the kind I hadn't seen in a while, if I was honest. And that's when I saw it, her hand, not resting on the table, not holding a drink. Her hand was intertwined with another, a man's hand, bigger, broader, different shape, and I didn't recognize it. They were holding hands, casually, intimately, across the table. My vision narrowed, focusing on that one detail, that one interlocked grip. It was a gesture you only share with someone you're with. My first thought, my immediate, desperate, grasping thought was, this must be old. It had to be. Some old photo from before we met. Or maybe a picture from a group outing. A silly moment, a joke I wasn't privy to. But then the details started to scream at me. The new manicure, the exact shade of nude polish she'd gotten the day before her flight. That was a week ago. This photo couldn't be old. And the phone she was holding in her other hand, casually, not posed for the camera. It was her new phone, the one I'd bought her for Christmas, in the new rose gold case she'd picked out. I knew that case. I'd watched her unwrap it. And the context. The clothing, the way the light hit her face, the kind of soft, warm glow you get on a summer evening. Denver, she said, was a conference, a professional event. This wasn't a conference. This was a date, or something that looked exactly like one. A cold dread started to spread through me, from my chest down into my stomach. It was a sickening, dizzying feeling. My brain was scrambling, trying to make sense of it, trying to find an explanation. Any explanation that wasn't the obvious one. Maybe it was a client, a friend, But the hand-holding? No. Lauren wasn't a casual hand-holder. Not with anyone but me. Not like that. Not in a setting like that. My mind raced, trying to fit this image into the narrative of our perfect life, her perfect career, her perfect trip. It didn't fit. It shattered it. The air in the room felt thick, suffocating. I sat there, frozen, staring at that image on my phone, as if staring harder would change what I saw. The other man's face was partially obscured, turned slightly away, but he was there, a presence, and Lauren, my Lauren, was looking at him, her eyes warm, her smile genuine. It wasn't a fleeting moment. It was an interaction, a connection. The internal debate began, raging in my head. If I say something, I'm the one who doesn't trust. I'm the jealous one, the insecure husband who checks up on his wife. I'm the one who saw something out of context and blew it out of proportion. I'm the villain of this story. If I don't say anything, I'm an idiot. I'm complicit. I'm blind. I'm letting this happen, letting her get away with whatever this was. The thought was a physical pain, a sharp twisting knot in my gut. The idea that she could be doing this, that our life could be a lie, that I could be so utterly, tragically wrong about everything, it was unbearable. I didn't sleep that night, not a wink. The phone lay on my chest, the screen still showing that photo, a glowing testament to a truth I didn't want to believe. Instead, I planned what I'd do in the morning. She answered the call like nothing was wrong. That was almost worse than if she'd hung up. Her face filled my screen, perfectly framed, smiling, casual, relaxed, like she'd just spent a lovely day, not like she'd been out with another man holding his hand. My stomach churned, but I forced myself to keep my voice steady, my expression neutral. "Hey," I said, trying to sound natural, like this was just a routine check-in. "How was your day?" She looked good. Her hair was down, a little loose, like she'd just had a shower, or maybe been out in the evening air. She was wearing a soft-looking top, nothing too formal, but still nice. And the background behind her, it was unmistakably a hotel room. The kind of muted, tasteful decor you see in boutique hotels. Not the kind of backdrop you get from a convention center or a workshop room. "Oh, hey, babe," she chirped, her voice bright, tired but content. "Long day at the workshops. My brain is totally fried. So much new stuff to learn." Workshops. The word echoed in my head, flat and hollow. I forced a smile, trying to appear engaged, while my eyes darted around the edges of the frame, seeking out details, anything that could betray the truth. She didn't seem to notice. Or maybe she just didn't care. My gaze landed on the wall, directly behind her head. There was a painting. Abstract, muted tones, greens and blues and grays, with a distinctive gold streak running through it. It wasn't a generic hotel print. It had a specific style, a certain brushstroke. Then the drapes. Heavy, cream-colored, with a subtle, almost woven pattern, and a lampshade on a bedside table to her left. A thick, cylindrical shape, casting a soft, warm glow. These weren't just random elements. They were specific. They felt memorable. I felt like a spy in my own life, a horrible, desperate detective. My heart was pounding against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat of dread and anger. While she was talking, telling me about some innovative, new approach to client engagement, I subtly, carefully, took a screenshot, and then another, and another. My thumb hovering over the button, a sick feeling in my throat. The thought of doing this, of capturing her face as she lied to me, It was dehumanizing. For both of us. But I knew I had to. I needed proof. More proof. We talked for a few more minutes. Or rather, she talked, and I nodded. Muttered agreements, my mind racing. She was oblivious. Or a damn good actress. When she finally said she was exhausted and needed to get some sleep, I echoed her sentiment, wished her good night, and hung up. The second the call ended, the facade dropped. My hand was shaking. I pulled up the screenshots, the painting, the drapes, the lampshade. My fingers flew across the keyboard, a frantic rhythm in the quiet room. Google. Image search. Keywords. Denver Boutique Hotel. Abstract painting gold streak. Hotel room cream woven drapes. Cylindrical bedside lamp Denver. Each search was a shot in the dark, fueled by a desperate, burning need for validation. The seconds stretched into minutes. My eye scanned the endless results. Blurry photos of hotel lobbies, generic rooms. My hope began to dwindle, replaced by a bitter taste of self-loathing. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was just losing my mind. Then, there it was, a small thumbnail in a sea of images. A travel blog, a review of hidden gems in downtown Denver. The photo on the blog was of a hotel room, and the angle was different. But the painting, the drapes, the lampshade, they were identical. Every detail, even the slightly off-kilter way the painting hung. My heart seized, my breath caught in my throat. I clicked on the image. The blog post loaded, and there it was, in bold letters, the Tilden Hotel. I stared at the words, the Tilden Hotel, not a conference center, not a workshop hall, a hotel. A very nice hotel, judging by the pictures. The kind of hotel where you take someone for a romantic getaway, not where you stay alone for a conference. My blood ran cold. She hadn't been at workshops. She hadn't been learning new things. She had been lying. To my face. Calmly, confidently. And the photo from last night, the one with her hand in his, it wasn't an old mistake or a misunderstanding. It was real. This was real. The realization hit me with the force of a physical blow. My world, which had been merely tilting, now spun violently, losing all its axis. Everything felt like a lie. Every shared moment, every quiet morning, every kiss. Was it all just a performance for her? Had I been living in a fantasy while she led a secret life? The anger, hot and sharp, began to replace the cold dread. It wasn't just about him anymore. It was about her. About the deception. The blatant, undeniable deception. I knew I couldn't just sit there. I couldn't just let the phone fall from my hand and pretend I hadn't seen it. I couldn't just wait for her to come home and act like nothing had happened. The thought of her walking through that door, smiling, pretending, after all this, it was unbearable. I grabbed my keys. I didn't know what I'd say. I just knew I had to see it with my own eyes. The silence behind that door. It was louder than any scream she could have given me. Louder than any angry outburst. It was the sound of my world shattering, quietly, irrevocably. The drive to the hotel was a blur. My hands gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white. My foot pressed the accelerator, a steady, almost robotic pressure. I saw the city lights, the familiar landmarks, but they were just shapes, colors without meaning. My mind was strangely calm, a terrifying, icy stillness. No tears, no shouting, no desperate pleading. Just a cold, hard certainty that I was doing what I had to do. Every breath felt shallow, like my lungs couldn't quite fill with air. I was a machine, moving forward towards the inevitable. The lobby was understated, exactly what I'd seen in the online photos. Soft lighting, muted tones, a few late-night guests scattered in comfortable armchairs, tapping away on their laptops. The hum of hushed conversations, the distant clinking of glasses from the bar. It all felt surreal, a backdrop to a nightmare I was living. I walked up to the front desk. The receptionist, a young woman with tired eyes, looked up. "Hi," I said, my voice surprisingly steady. "I'm here to see Lauren Miller. She checked in earlier today." She typed something into her computer, glanced at a screen, then back at me. Her expression was polite, professional, devoid of judgment. "Yes, Mr. Miller," she said, her voice soft, almost apologetic. "Miss Miller is registered in room 712. Mr. Miller." She knew my name. They had registered as a couple. The confirmation of her presence, spoken so casually, was a fresh wound. It was like a physical blow, a punch to the gut. She wasn't just in Denver. She was here, with him, in that room. My room, technically, in this scenario. The final, undeniable proof. I nodded, thanked her, the words feeling like gravel in my mouth. The elevator ride up to the 7th floor was interminable. The numbers clicked by. Each one a step closer to the truth. 7. The doors slid open with a soft chime. The corridor was long, carpeted, hushed. My footsteps made no sound, swallowed by the plush pile, but I felt them reverberating through my whole body. Each step a heavy weight, moving me closer to a door that held all the answers and all the pain. Room 712. I stopped. The number, illuminated by a small, discreet light, seemed to glow ominously. My hand, almost of its own volition, lifted. I wanted to pound on the door. I wanted to scream. I wanted to demand answers, to tear down the facade she'd built around us. But a different kind of resolve settled over me. A quiet, terrifying calm. I knocked. Not a frantic, enraged pounding. Just 2 firm, clear knocks, like a formal announcement. I'm here. I know. Silence. An agonizing, drawn-out silence. I held my breath, listening. My ears strained, trying to catch any sound from within. A rustle, a cough, a startled gasp. Nothing. Just the oppressive stillness of the hotel corridor. Then I heard it. A faint sound. A muffled whisper. Not a word I could make out. Just the distinct impression of voices. More than one. A man's voice. And then, undeniably, Lauren's. Soft, hushed, as if she were trying to avoid being heard. Then, nothing. Just the quiet hum of the hotel's air conditioning, the distant sound of traffic, and the deafening roar of my own heartbeat in my ears. She was in there. She heard me. She knew I was standing right outside her door, and she wasn't opening it. The realization was a cold, hard stone settling in my chest. This wasn't about an old photo, or a suspicious text, or a secret meeting. This was about her standing on the other side of that door, choosing not to open it, choosing him, choosing the lie, choosing silence. I didn't knock again. There was no point. What could I say? What could she say? The answer was already screaming at me through the wood. I took out my phone. My fingers moved stiffly, deliberately. I typed the message, each word a hammer blow of finality. I know you're not in Denver. When you come home, you won't be coming home to me. I hit send. The message flew into the digital ether. carrying with it the last remnants of our life together. I didn't wait for a reply. There would be none that mattered. I didn't cry on the drive home. I didn't scream. I didn't punch the dashboard. I just kept seeing that doorknob not turning. I packed her stuff like I was removing someone else's life from mine, like clearing malware. That long drive home from the hotel, the city lights blurring past my numb eyes. It wasn't a journey of rage or tears. It was a journey into an empty future, into a home that suddenly felt like a crime scene. The house was silent when I walked in, even though I knew she was miles away. It was an echoing silence, filled with the ghosts of laughter and whispered secrets. All of them now tainted. Every picture on the mantel, every shared blanket on the couch, every piece of pottery she'd picked out, they were monuments to a past that was a lie. I didn't sleep, couldn't. Instead, I moved through the house like a phantom, methodical, clinical. I started in her closet. Her clothes, once so familiar, so comforting, now felt alien. Each item I folded, each dress I hung, was a tiny step in severing the connection. Her perfume, her favorite scarf, the worn-out yoga pants she loved, they all went into boxes. Not just random boxes, but her boxes. Separate, distinct. Her books, her workout gear, her framed photos of friends I barely knew. Her life. It was a strange, surgical detachment. No rage, just a quiet, aching certainty that this had to be done. I was dismantling our life, piece by painful piece, before she even knew it was gone. Sunday morning. The house was clean, but the air was heavy. The packed boxes stood like silent sentinels in the living room, waiting. The silence felt different now. Not just empty, but expectant. I didn't know what I'd say, or what she'd say, but I knew it wouldn't matter. The sound of her key in the lock. That familiar click that once brought a rush of warmth now sent a chill down my spine. The door opened, and then the abrupt silence as she stepped inside. I was in the living room, standing by the window, watching the street. I didn't turn around immediately. I let her see the boxes, let her process it. There was a small gasp, a choked sound. Then, her voice, a little shaky. "Jake? What is all this?" I turned, slowly. Her face was pale, her eyes wide, searching mine. There was confusion, and beneath it, a flicker of fear. The carefully constructed facade of the conference woman was gone. This was just Lauren. Caught. "I know you weren't in Denver for a conference, Lauren," I said, my voice flat, devoid of emotion. I didn't raise it. I didn't need to. "I know where you were, and who you were with." She opened her mouth, a desperate attempt to speak, to explain, to deny. Her eyes darted to the boxes, then back to me, then to her phone, probably remembering the message I'd sent. "Jake, it's not what you think. I can explain. Please." "There's nothing to explain." I cut her off, the words like ice. "The door never opened, Lauren." That was explanation enough. The words hung in the air between us, heavy and final. She flinched, her eyes dropping. She knew. She knew I knew. There was no more room for lies, no more space for pretense. The silence that followed was crushing, broken only by the sound of her shallow breathing. She didn't try to argue. She didn't try to touch me. She just stood there, looking at the boxes, then at me, like I was a stranger. And in that moment, I realized she was too. Monday morning. The first thing I did was call my lawyer. It felt clinical, detached. The process of divorce is a cold, sterile thing, especially when you're talking about something that was once so warm, so alive. The paperwork, the terms, the separation of assets. It's just logistics, but each form, each signature was another nail in the coffin of a decade of my life. It felt like divorcing a stranger, which in a way, I was. The woman I loved, the woman I married. It made me think about trust, about how delicate it is, how easily it can be shattered, how you can be so deeply, completely blind because you want to believe. You invest so much of yourself in someone, in a shared life, that the idea of it being a performance, a deception, is unbearable. So you ignore the whispers, the subtle shifts, the gut feelings. You tell yourself you're being paranoid. You tell yourself it's just a busy period. You make excuses for them, and in doing so, you betray yourself. But there comes a point when ignoring it means losing yourself entirely. It means accepting a lie as your truth. And I couldn't do that. This wasn't just about her betrayal. It was about reclaiming my own dignity, my own sense of self-respect. It's still raw, still hurts like hell. But there's a strange kind of clarity that comes with it. The fog is gone. The truth, however painful, is illuminated. You never think it's going to be you. You hear stories, you see it in movies, you nod sympathetically at friends, but you never truly believe it could happen in your own meticulously constructed life. Until the moment it is. Until you're standing there, holding your phone, staring at a picture that unravels everything you thought you knew. I'm Jake. I saw one photo that changed everything. If my story resonated with you, or if you've had your own moment of unexpected truth, I'd appreciate hearing from you in the comments below.